yes, you want to be polished, you want to present yourself well, but also there's a human factor, you know, because burnout's real, mental health is real. And in entrepreneurship, you can go through so many different emotions every day, throughout the day. And so just having that safe space to land and know that you are not alone it's like therapy. It's group therapy.
It's group therapy.
We're good? You all ready? You good? Ready? Good. All right, ready? All right.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Conversation Piece, your place to discover the untold stories of Indianapolis. My name is Patrick. I am your host, and I'm excited to be with you in 2025, the year of community. Got a lot of really exciting things happening here on the show, including the open door. Go to the website, conversationpeacepod.com, to learn more about that. But without further ado, I'm really excited about today because my guests are two incredible Black women creating community and connecting people right here in the city. One is a creative entrepreneur, model, and co-owner of Mathis Media and Mathis Media Studios. The other is a lover of ministry and the founder of the PR firm Socially Coordinated. They are both multi-passionate, multi-entrepreneurs, speakers, moms, and like I said before, incredible humans. Together, they are the founders of Create, Connect, Collab, an organization dedicated to encouraging women to push through their fears and make ish happen.
Period.
We're about to have some amazing conversations, I think. So without further ado, it is my great joy and privilege to welcome Starla K. Mathis and Lateva Woolfork to the show.
Period.
Thank you for having us.
Hey,
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
I love this theme.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
We love community, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is because that's literally the work that you are involved in. So a little context for the audience at home. We first connected because y'all asked me to sit on a panel for media.
Yeah,
which I
shout
thought
out
was
to
really
Kelsey,
cool.
because Kelsey
Shout out
made
to
that
Kelsey.
connection.
Yes, shout out to Kelsey
And
Jones.
Indie Hub.
100%.
Yeah.
And Indie Hub.
Shout out to Indie Hub as well. And I got a first-hand accounting of like the community that you've been building. And I thought it was really incredible. And I knew that I wanted to continue to at least follow and support your journeys, if not amplify the work that you're doing. So I'm glad we're here today.
Yay.
So much.
And when was that? Was that like a year ago? Like how long ago?
How long ago
It was like
that?
close to the end of 2024. It was like October, I want to
Was
say.
it October?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, because this has been like in the making.
It feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's where I also met Ariana Cruz.
Yes.
And we've been working together on some stuff now. So like a lot of community built
We love
out
her.
of
Come on,
Yes.
CCC.
that event.
Yes, I've done a lot of work with her in More Magazine.
100%. Shout out to More Magazine. I want to start with origins. What I want to start with specifically is for each of you, what inspired you to pursue entrepreneurship at the start?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is in my core. My father, he was an entrepreneur. So he would work, but he was always a mechanic. Like whatever you needed, he was there for you. So that was enrooted in me. But then also just seeing the people around me not truly living out their dreams. I was like, I don't want to live like that. I want to be like the people I see on the celebrities. Like, oh, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And so I want every woman or every person I can come in contact with to have that energy.
Yeah. I never had any entrepreneurs in my family. I mean, my mama was a hood entrepreneur. Can we say that?
You can say whatever you want. Unless it's like a really hateful, bigoted thing at somebody, which I don't think that y'all are about.
No. I'm originally from Detroit, and there is always moving and shaking happening in that space. So big city, big dreams. I can't say that there was anybody close to me that had a career or a job that I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. And then I was like, I know that I don't want to live a life where people get to tell me what to do all the time.
Okay. I love that.
I'm just being honest. Like I was working at jobs. I got my degree. I went into the corporate space, and everybody else got to make all the decisions that were affecting me directly. Yeah. And you just got to go leave and live your life. And I was like, I don't think I like that.
Yeah, 100%. I really resonate with that. So like it was entrepreneurship ingrained in like the identity of yourself at a young age just because you were surrounded by it. For you, it was a little bit different. Was there a specific moment that you realized, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing? especially as you were navigating kind of those corporate spaces?
Yeah. So I didn't and let me go backtrack too, because I didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, sure.
I knew I wanted to. Right. I knew I was going to pursue a career in media, and I thought I would work for somebody else at the news or something like that. But then as I was on my journey, I was like, oh, I enjoy working for myself.
Period.
So it didn't kind of happen like, oh, I was strived out to be an entrepreneur. It was in my back like, oh, I could probably do this. Why can't I do this? My dad did this.
Sure.
So I can do this. So that's how it kind of happened for me.
Shifting into the moment that I knew this was a thing, my husband's family has a real estate company back in Detroit, and I was kind of dabbling in that space. And I was like, oh, I'm selling houses for real. And by the time I left my job for a year, I had built $1 million portfolio for somebody else.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm kind of good at talking to people and making them do, and making their lives better. By that time, we left and we moved here 7 years ago, and I knew I did not want to go back into the healthcare field. And I was like, okay, God, what will you have me do here in this space? I stumbled upon blogging, and I was like, okay, blog, here we go. I started writing, and then 0% of people was looking at it ever. So I had to learn about brand building. I had to learn about SEO. I had to learn about building traffic, like what that looks like. And then I became really good at that. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, can I pick your brain? And I'm like, yeah, let's have all the meetings. And then they were free. And I'm like, people should probably pay me for this.
Was there a moment there for that you realized that?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was at a meeting and she was like, oh my God, my page views increased by 500. Like I had 500,000 page views this month. And I was like, oh, I don't have any money.
Right.
There is $0 from this transaction. Yeah.
Like,
so I was like,
I'm happy for you, but also like,
where's my money?
What math equation is working here? Because it's not working out.
It's not working for me. And then kind of blogging and marketing came to me, and I was like, oh, this is my space. This is the thing for me.
Yeah, I wanted to go back. So you mentioned when did we see that we could be an entrepreneur, right?
Sure.
That first moment. I would say at Ball State, chirp, chirp. My husband and I, boyfriend at the time, we were in video production. We had a TV show called The Mix, right? It was Emmy nominated within its first season.
Okay, that's what's up.
I know.
What was The Mix about real quick?
It was like a variety show, almost kind of like A Living Color, but it always had to educate you, inform you, and inspire you.
Nice.
Those are my values.
I love that.
Still to this day, and everything that I do. But so we had a professor, Steve Bell, rest in peace, and he asked me and my husband if we would film his granddaughter's wedding. And so right then, I had already freelanced while I was in college doing video work. And so I was like, oh, Reg, we could really have a media company. And so that's how it started off, media.
Okay.
And then it went to marketing, and then to where we are now. And so that was the first one. I'm like, oh, I could get paid for this. I want to do this, but I really didn't know if I could actually do it full time.
I love that. I love like, sometimes it's just the opportunity, and sometimes it's just like you're doing the thing and it's the realization, wait a second, like, why am I just doing this? Why is this not a business? I feel like I ran into that with the show. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I put all this time and effort into this? I'm like, I should probably make this a thing that generates revenue. You talked about like stepping into this space. Obviously, with anything, there are barriers. I think specifically for women pursuing their own businesses, I feel like that there's a ton of things that stand in the way of something like that. What were some of those initial barriers that you saw? Or was there a specific one that you were like, we got to do something about this thing to bring this down?
Yeah. So Lateva mentioned how her mom was, would you say ghetto entrepreneur?
A hood entrepreneur.
So my father, rightfully so as well. So I didn't know everything about creating an LLC, everything you need to do to have a strong foundation in business. And we even learned and coined a term through a sponsor that we work with, Pat Gamble, give them a shout out at PNC. But having bail, right? Every business needs bail money. So
Interesting.
So that's a banker, an accountant, insurance, a lawyer. And so all those things I wasn't privy to. I started off freelancing. So I'm like, I'm going to keep freelancing until the IRS come and then, see what I need to keep doing. Until I'm like, oh, they say, what, six, how much I got to make a month? I count it off. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Listen, that was a thing. Barriers for me, I mean, they're riddled throughout my life, right? I'm a girl where the stats have been stacked against her since she was born.
Yeah.
So creating space to remove barriers is literally what I wake up and live for every single day. Now, just to give you some specifics, childhood, of course, like domestic violence, all of those things were in my childhood. But then moving here and then coming to a space where I'm like, okay, this is a space of opportunity. How do I remove the barrier of access?
Sure.
I feel like access is a thing, right? Me even sitting here with you is an accessibility point.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I don't have access to lots of funding to be able to really start a company, have somebody invest in it because women don't get that much venture capital here. I don't have business credit, right? So then I can't go buy all of the equipment that I actually need off of somebody else. I have to use my real money, right? That's a challenge when you have 6 kids and a husband.
Sure.
Okay.
And then it's how do you find a way to, is it even a balancing or is it like you have to pick? Or is it a choosing? I feel like that's an impossible decision to have to make.
So let me shout out my husband, Curtis, who is literally...
Shout out, Curtis.
He's the backbone of the space that I get to live in to be able to support my dreams and ambitions.
For sure.
So praise God for him that I was able to do that, but so many do not have that accessibility point. I will also say community, right? Because that's why Starla and I are even together, or you and I are together. Being able to ask those vulnerable questions like, so do I really need to start a bank account? I can't put all the money in one account. That's illegal. Okay, got it. Like there is a space of vulnerability and that is an accessibility challenge. When you have nobody to ask these questions.
Or feel comfortable in a space to ask those questions.
So lots and lots of challenges. And especially, I will also note being here and knowing absolutely no one.
As an implant from Detroit.
One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
Huge hurdle. 100%. Well, and especially as you build a business, like when you, like that's how I feel with this podcast. I'm like, oh, we're going to focus on Indianapolis. And I'm like, wait a second. I don't know anybody here. Even though I've lived here before, I don't have any community. There's no audience. Like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
It's like you have to figure it out. And you've obviously did the figuring
I mean, Lateva is the girl. Lateva, what are the tips?
What the tips for networking? That's a great question. A lot of people ask me that, and I think we about to start coining that. Okay, y'all about to give me some coins for networking. Let's go back. So in terms of building community, I lead with support.
Sure.
And how I can support you in your space. I'm not coming to ask you for anything. I'm coming to be in community with you. Literally, I want to show up for you. I want to show up to your podcast stuff. I want to share it on my stories. And they're like, oh, she actually supports me. How can I support the work that she does? And that's how I built a really expansive network here in Indy. And really showing up is part of the issue.
100%. Like you have to get outside your house if you want to see these opportunities. Like they're not, sometimes they will just fall in your lap. That's great. But for the majority of people, that's not what happens. And you have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. And again, there are barriers probably even to getting outside your house sometimes. And like it does take a little bit of investment on your own part. You know, you have to invest a little bit of yourself in order to get out of whatever you're trying to get.
Exactly.
I think that approach is beautiful because I think that's how you become successful building a marketing agency. Is because you're approaching brand building and community building from that place of how do we work together and not like a quid pro quo or a transactional sense. Speaking of like building community, I read that when you first met, you were really drawn to her energy, not intimidated by the energy. And so I was wondering if there was something specific that piqued your interest about that energy that was like, hey, we got to continue to at least be in community together.
Let's talk about it.
I'm
attracted to boss energy. Okay. Like I see you, you see me. Let's do something together.
Let's do it.
Right? Like some people are like, okay, I see the big players in the room and they're like, okay, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm like, no, let's talk to them.
For sure.
Okay. Let's be together because I'm a boss too. Right?
100%.
Like I'm about my money. I'm about the business. I also want to support you. I'm a genuine lover of all people. people. So she showed up. So let's just get to the story because this is like,
oh, are we doing this? Oh my God, Patrick! Every time you already got her started. Like the hand's been going.
It's going. It's go time.
I don't know what's gonna come out next. Okay, here we go.
We can be PR today.
I mean, cause I just want to be factual.
Okay, are we pulling receipts? Because we had the receipts.
And yes, we do. I remember them.
I'll let you tell Patrick the story.
Oh, the full story?
Go ahead.
Okay, hi, Patrick. So we met, Lateva and I met at shout out Indie Creator Society. They had an event. Me and Martina were there. I love what she tells. She's a great storyteller. But so Martina and I was there. It was at a penthouse, right?
Okay.
And we were there to get the content and get the looks, right?
Sure.
Like you said, I'm a model, so I'm here for the shots.
100%.
And so Lateva saw us with our suitcases and cameras and all these things. And she's like, oh, what they got going on?
Literally.
And so I think you slid in the DM. Me and you, we communicated, we chatted. There was this point, this is where it gets messy, where it gets...
This is where the receipts get pulled, y'all.
We were chatting. She asked me to coffee. If you can't tell, I'm a little introverted, right? So...
Sure.
I am too.
That's the clip right there.
That's the clip? Oh, Lord. So... yeah, so she asked me for coffee. I was like, I don't really know her that well. I'm scared. I don't know. I don't really drink coffee. So I was like a coffee snub drinker.
And I'm like, girl, you could have had water.
So I ignored that, but we still talked. But I was also, we were developing CCC. So I invited her to an event. And this is where you want to chime in?
This is where I chime in, right? So we're going at it. And the things, I'm like, let's go to coffee. She ignored my request for coffee.
We established that.
Not left on red. She just started talking about other stuff. Like,
didn't even... Okay.
The sky is blue.
Not
and
the
your
sky
shirt
is blue.
is so cute.
Your kids are so cute.
Your kids
I
are
love
so
what
cute.
you're
I'm like,
doing.
so she's just gonna ignore my request for real, and then invited me to her event. And I'm like, girl, I'm not going to your event.
Sure.
Shade.
But you gotta also spread your time. When you're real busy, I'm like, wait, where am I gonna fit this in? Right? Where am I gonna fit this in? And so I was learning for Entrepreneur, my league of Crowbox. She was like, you want to get with people, invite them to one location so you can divide and conquer and do all that.
Yes.
So I was doing that.
I hear you saying all of that.
Because now you understand the life. You understand it now, right?
I understand it even more now. Yes,
Lethal
I'm in
shooter.
agreement.
I understand it now.
We understand this now. You can't just have time, but I also don't ignore it. Anyway, so she ignored my request. I went to the event anyway because I was literally starving for relationships. I'm like, and I need some Black friends, okay? I live in Greenwood. Shout out to Greenwood. I love my city. But there was no Black people there.
Sure.
Okay? There are more now. Okay, some sprinkles.
We've talked about it a little bit.
We talked about it a little bit. Did we? Okay,
no,
so y'all know.
We have, but we on the show in general.
Yeah.
That's come up a
I
little
try to
bit.
get her to move on my side of town. But
I love my city. I love Greenwood. It's accessible. Hey, friends. Okay, but I'm like, where are my sisters at? I need to be in community. So I went to the event anyway. Starla and I are now a love story. Then we got married in 3 months.
We did. There's more to the story, but yes.
Okay, I love it. So that's basically kind of where I want to go next. First off, I thank you for sharing. I had to ask because I've heard you tell the story in the research like 2 or 3 times, I think, in other platforms.
Yes.
And I feel like it's structured just a little differently each time. So I appreciate it. I
Because
think this is the
we
first
go
one.
back.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So where I want to go then is like, what leads to the marriage specifically? And like, what was the thing that told you, hey, working together is the way to do this? Because you were already building CCC.
Yeah.
And so maybe I flip these questions, we start there. Because you were, I think in 2017, had started to
come through reading,
build groups,
research.
build the groups of just to do what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Figure out what barriers are there and support each other. How do we support each other?
Yeah. So 2017, I was working full time, 9 to 5, loved it. But I felt stuck, Patrick. I'm like, I'm not doing the things I said I wanted to do. I looked around on my friends that were on the Emmy-nominated show. I'm like, we're not doing all the things we said we wanted to do. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts at that time. And so I think it was Pat Flynn from Passive Income. He was talking about masterminds. And I was like, you know what? What is this mastermind? Like, let me do some research. So I'm a big research person. Like, let me see your success journey. How did you make it? Let me see how I can make that happen in my life. And so masterminds was it. And so each month I would have my friends come to my house in my living room with my husband. And it was co-ed. It was all of our friends. And we would share what our goals were, what resources were. And I saw this synergy. And even like a member, she wanted to be a full-time illustrator. So within that time, she became that and was illustrating books. And I'm like, this is what I want every woman to experience. So we launched the private CCC Facebook group. In 2019, we had our first retreat. And during that retreat, I remember saying to ladies, like, we had some people come from Chicago that came down. It was at an Airbnb, real nice. And I was like, hey, I have this energy, this feeling that in 2020, I'm going to go full time. October, we didn't know what was going to happen in 2020, but October 2020,
nobody knew.
I did go full time. I know that was a crazy, but a lot of businesses and entrepreneurship launched in 2020. And so I was a part of that. So that's how we started. And then connected with Lateva through the DMs. And what I love about Lateva is that we had a phone call, and I was trying to decide who would I work with for this venture because I wanted people who I knew would like get the work, understood the work, had the mission, the drive, and the passion. And talking to Lateva, we had a phone call after the coffee we had a phone call situation. And I was like, I love her energy. And I was like, you know what, God, if this is who you want me to work with to make this happen, show me a sign. It was just clear as day. Yeah. It was so clear. And then since then, we've been married.
We've been married.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. She's such a lovey. Yes.
Such a lovey. Oh, my gosh.
But, I mean, just her energy, like, she's a visionary. And is working with her every day, I'm just, like, in awe and, like, wowed. And, you know, I just wanted someone who was like, had the same strong work ethic, was going to make things happen, who loved community, who loved and want to support women. And we do that.
We do that every day.
I love it.
That's all of the things.
All the things.
I mean, Starla, especially when we started, because I called like, hey, sis, I want to build a community here of women. Like, that's the energy that I want to do. And I see that you're already culminating something. Yeah. Let's do it together. I want to just go back just a little bit because it's such a vulnerable space to be able to say, hey, I see what you're doing. I would love to be a part of it. I'm not sure that many people will do that. So I want people to shoot your shot, right? Yeah. Like, even if it's just in a relationship, like, hey, I see what you're doing. Even if we don't do it together, I want to support that space. So I was just like, yes, let's do it together. And then literally within 3 months, that doesn't happen. We were going into business together.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to chime in when you said shoot your shot. And that's what we ask our members to do at CCC. You want to do something, you want to speak, even when you meet me, you don't even have to be a CCC member. You want to do something, tell me, I'll help you. Period. Or I'll connect you to that person. That's in the name, right? You create it. We connect you. We collab. So...
Period. Tell the people.
I absolutely love that. And the thing that's currently sticking out to me is just this rooted value of vulnerability. And not only creating the space for people, like the soft landing for people to be vulnerable, but also modeling that for the folks to show that, like, hey, we can be vulnerable and this is how we can do it. And it doesn't, like, again, like you said, you don't even have to be a member of this. Like, just come up and share. And I think what's scary for people about being vulnerable is because they've never been affirmed in that before. How does CCC approach new members when it comes to expressing said vulnerability? Like, what is the approach for something like that? Because I feel like it can be different for all organizations and communities, but...
I'll take this one. I think our masterminds, Starla likes to say, it's the hug that every entrepreneur needs. When you're starting a company from scratch, we like to tell people that we all start at zero. Like, people don't be coming out the gate making $1 million like you see on the internet streets. And Starla and I, in our masterminds, still participate in the mastermind.
Right. I heard you say that. It's like, I'm learning too. I got questions too.
We got questions. We want to know, like, even when we're doing community conversations for like Indie Hub at the lab. No, I have media questions too. Patrick, how do I get on your podcast?
For sure.
Right? Like, I want to know these questions. So I think us being able to be vulnerable in that space to say, hey, we've started at zero, made $0, worked really hard, did stuff for free. Yeah. And now we're creating some revenue, but that doesn't mean that, we're in the stratosphere, right? Sure. So our space is literally for the most vulnerable question all the way to the how can I support you right where you are?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that mastermind is what does that.
Yeah, I think the mastermind is really there to humanize business.
Yeah.
Right. I think
I
think when as entrepreneurs or you see business professional, you're like, yes, you want to be polished, you want to present yourself well, but also there's a human factor.
Yeah.
You know, because burnout's real, mental health is real, and in entrepreneurship, you can go through so many different emotions every day throughout the day, and so just having that safe space to land and know that you are not alone is. It's like therapy. It's group therapy.
It's group therapy.
Just right in that last answer from both of you had multiple trademarkable sayings. So when you listen back to this, you might want to take those because I might be taking them.
You can't just quote us.
Just quote us.
That's
Okay, I'll
fine.
throw a quote on there. I don't know. You might see some shirts come out with those things on. I'd be like, hey, wait a
Can
second.
I get one?
Right.
And some
Just send us
profits.
some merch.
No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm interested in if there is a most common vulnerability or accessibility challenge that comes up in with folks who enter the mastermind.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like confidence,
Okay.
mindset to even like, how do you even launch into full time? You know, like how much money did you have to save? How do you get your clients? How do you stay on a steady revenue? Are a lot of the questions we receive. What would you say?
I would say the same. What I was thinking is imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes,
Like not becoming the subject matter expert that you actually are.
Sure.
Like the women in our community have been working at their craft for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then they come into our space like, I want to start a company, but I don't think that I'm ready. Even though you're degreed, you've been working at this for 10 years.
Yeah.
You
They
do
put
it
in
on the side for
10,000
free.
hours to become that
And
expert.
that's the thing, that 10,000 hours you put in.
Yeah.
So really build yourself up and hold yourself up and
Come on,
say,
put your chest
I'm
out.
an
Come
expert.
on.
I'm an expert. And I think once you say that, it's so, like, I'm very like the spiritual one.
Come
Like,
on.
it's
I love
so
it.
rewarding. Like to say, I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about. Here are my results, right? My KPIs. And, you know, I think that's what we give them, that stepping stone.
But also the space, because when you come into our space, we're going to say, okay, Patrick, you want to be a speaker? All right, we have a master class next month and you can host that space.
Sure.
And you can share your expertise here. And here's a couple connections that you can also go share your expertise as well. Our space is really for the emerging entrepreneur, really for that 1 to 3, 1 to 5 years. And then all of our seasoned members come back and really give that support of scaling up.
Okay.
So when you're thinking about, I don't know what to do, this is where you come.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or I have an idea. Like we always talk about from zero to launch and then launch and scaling. And so that's really how we kind of flow through.
Okay, I like it. And that was going to be my next question was just like, how does that mastermind look for folks that join? I think that you have like 2 things per month that come out.
Just to state what we do. So every month we have a mastermind and a master class. We did launch something new. So you have your theme for 2025. Our theme for 2025 is mastering the work. And so you like that?
I love that.
Come on, podcast.
Okay. So we have mastering the work. And we also have our master stories. And so that's what we have those who are in scaling, you know, maybe making 10K or millionaires, honestly, come and share their start, right? Mastering the work is where we're really doing it. You go to a lot of conferences, you're getting talked at. Let's implement. We need that time to implement. We love a work meeting.
Yeah.
So this is our work meeting.
Okay. I love the idea of implementation.
I'm going to level that up because we also host 2 signature events every year.
Okay.
Emerging Women in Business. That is actually coming up here on March 8th, March 7th and 8th. And this is a free workshop where you just come and you get that banker, accountant, insurance, lawyer space that she was talking about earlier. And you get a little bit of feedback from entrepreneurs who have been there and done that.
Sure.
And then we host Unstoppable. It's literally my Oprah voice, friends.
Ooh.
Yes. And this is our big event, right? Where everybody else who is not a member gets to come into basically our mastermind space. We really start to master the work now, brand building, personal branding. So when you're coming in our space, you're getting all of that.
Sure.
And it's $20 a month. Can we drop that here? Okay.
I like that.
Can I stare in the
$20
camera?
a month. That's pretty good.
It is. And even like Emerging being a free program that we partner with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Kai make a chapter. Hey, Sorors. It's just amazing to give back. And so we do a lot of that outside of our own businesses because we only work on CCC. Can you guess how many days out the week?
1.
Yes.
That was not a guess.
He
cheated. I helped
you told him? You threw it? You passed it?
She did tell me.
Okay, yeah. We work on this one day out
One
the
day
week.
a week.
Well, you got us today, but yeah.
I like, so what does that one day look like?
It's
a
a
lot.
crazy
Oh,
Thursday.
okay.
It's branded.
Thursday.
Everyone else, CCC Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I
if
like
you
it.
email us, you're gonna get an email say, "Hey, we'll answer
Get
your
you back
email
on
on Thursday."
Okay, and that's
Yes.
when and
Yeah.
the classes and everything happen on Thursdays.
Everything
the events
happens
happen
on Thursday.
Thursdays too.
We
Ooh,
try
good
our
question.
very best.
Okay.
We try our best. It's not always like that. but
No,
yeah.
our signature events are normally on Saturdays, weekends,
sense.
because
Oh, yeah,
you're giving
those.
a lot of time.
Yeah.
But our monthly cadence, everything happens on Thursday. And we literally lean into that space because we also run companies.
Yeah.
We both run our marketing firms that are doing well. So we
Yeah.
have to really
Shout out
schedule
y'all.
our time, right?
Mathis Media.
Yeah.
Praise
Well,
God
then
for
you
that.
get to go to the classes and the masterminds that you're hosting and then be a part of that and be like, hey, we got this going on.
Yeah.
Can we get support or help or whatever that looks like?
Exactly.
I love the intentionality
Mhm.
behind this. And I like that Unstoppable you said is open to anybody, right? Not
Women.
even if you're not a member.
Yes, you
Yeah,
don't have to
you
be a
don't have to be-
member.
Okay.
It is open to women business owners or women leaders in the community, or maybe you just want a new woman in the city and you want to connect with people. It's open for that.
Was that the event that you were invited to previously? Is that how you
No,
met?
that was the beginning.
Oh, that was just
that
the
was
beginning
baby steps.
thing.
That was just
Okay,
like,
okay,
hey,
okay.
I got this idea. I'm trying to get some women together.
That was the retreat. She had
Yeah.
a retreat and invited me to that, and I didn't go. I was like, I was out of town now.
Was she? No, I was kidding.
There's a lot of wedges being dropped in here, I feel
This
like.
is our
dynamic.
banter. This
I
is
love it.
We're, it's
I
very
love it.
sisterly.
Yeah,
You know, it's like little sister, big sister.
Very
Shade. That
familial.
was even shade, Patrick. You didn't catch it. That was
Familial.
shade.
That's how it
It
feels to me.
is. It's family.
I'm here for it. I was wondering how, especially since you've partnered together, but especially since CCC has taken off in the way that it has, you talk about confidence being a big common theme that comes through with your participants. What has been the thing that has changed most for each of you during the time that you've been doing CCC together?
Oh, together. Well, man, together. I think Lateva has definitely got me out my shell. We are like yin and yang,
Okay.
right? And so I am like, I think you said like things come to me. I've always been like a magnet. Like things just come to me. It's meant for me. Lativa's like, we go and get it, right? I break down all the doors. And I'm like, I say I do that. I don't know if I really do that. But with Lateva, she has helped me do that. And I think you encourage all of our members to go break down those doors, to, knock a window down and pull your seat up at the table or pull your table next to somebody else's table. And so I just think it's really important to have that. And I think we learn and glean from each other.
Yeah.
Because like I'm a public speaker, like something I always wanted to do, but Lateva pushed me up and said, girl, you can do this.
I love that.
And I'm like, I got a little emotional.
I'm gonna cry.
I know, I can't look at you no more.
I'm in agreement. Starla it's literally iron sharpening iron. She is definitely the A to Z, right? Like, I'm like, let's go get the Epcot and put a C on it. And I want to create a lab at Disney World. And she's like, but we need flights. Somebody got to drive us there. And then there's an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's an A, B, C, D, E, F, G to everything. And she pulls down the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, honey, and she's going to mark every single one of them. Okay? And we'll follow up with me like, did you mark the G? And I'm like, God, I'm going to do the G right now.
And what color is it?
And what color is the G?
Because I color code things.
Is the G on the spreadsheet? Is the G on the spreadsheet? Is it highlighted on the spreadsheet? Is it in all caps on the spreadsheet? Okay. Literally, this is what we do. We're totally different in that space, but she literally pushes me to make sure that not only can we dream, like you can dream, but can you get there? Like, what are the logistically, how you going to get there? And I'm like, okay, we can get there, but together, like we make sense.
Yeah.
We do.
We make sense.
We make a lot of
and our
sense.
community get to glean from them, and they come into that space, and like we all learn from each other.
There's no divorcing here.
No divorcing.
You're mad, go take a nap in another room.
Go
come
take a
back.
nap. Yeah.
I mean, the synergy and the way that y'all fit together, like you said, it just works. That honestly was reminding me of my relationship with my wife. It being like, because it sounds like she's got stuff where she's like, I got to put it on the spreadsheet, and here's this calendar, and here's how it is. And like, don't write your thing on the calendar because I need it all to be uniform in my handwriting. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do now. So I'm just like,
tell
but
me.
you do it and then let me know. And then I'll do the kind of existential dreaming, the big picture thinking, and we'll put our hats together.
And you
and
put
make
it
work.
on. You put it on there and make sure we did it.
Exactly. And then we'll get it done. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing it. And I love when I have two guests on because generally they say really nice things about each other. I don't know if it's because you're sitting in front of cameras and mics.
It
but,
is.
I mean, just that
I appreciate
time.
it.
Yeah. You don't always get that time to say like, oh, I love you and thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
should do that
genuinely
more.
love her.
Well, we do say love you on the phone. But
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. At the beginning of the call and at the end, I'm sure.
Not at the beginning. The beginning. I'm not even
It'd be
gonna lie to
like,
y'all.
it'd be like, do you have space for this?
It's like, do you have space for
Oh,
this?
that's a great way to
But
start a call, though.
we learned to do that.
But that's
what
how
we-
you're meeting somebody where they're at instead of telling them where you need to be. Where
Yeah.
you need them to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Put that on the shirt.
Maybe. Okay, so your work rooted in community, rooted right here in the community of Indianapolis. So I want to ask both of you, how do you each define Indianapolis?
How do I define it? Oh, like in community or just Indianapolis as a whole?
However you want to take that question.
I mean, Indy
So
is
I'll tell
all
you that
okay.
a lot of people have said that home is kind of that definition.
Yeah, I was gonna say Indy is all I really know. I mean, it's home for me. My parents was raised here. I met my love here, well, Muncie, but I mean, I did live in DC for a while, but Indy is nap town. I think there's amazing people here doing phenomenal things. You know, we have, oh my God, so many people doing things, but also there is those people where you get, just crabs in a barrel. It happens everywhere. But I think if you stay around positive people, you are going to have a positive experience in Indy.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was God.
Hello, God. Come through, Jesus. For me, Indy has been a city of relationships.
Yeah.
It is the city of proximity to access, the city of dreamers who are collectively doing things that gather together to be able to push a mission forward. I'm from Detroit. Yes, I call Indy home. Detroit will always be in my heart.
For sure.
But I've leaned into the Circle City and being in community, like in that connected circle where you see where everybody's like holding hands.
Yep.
I feel like Indy does that, right? And like once you're like outside, Indy will lift you up by itself. And it's like, oh, you're really doing the work, and you'll be able to create relationships that are like in proximity to whatever dream that you will want to dream here in Indy.
I love both of those things. Made me feel a little hopeful
A
about
little hopeful for Indy.
in the time.
I mean,
I'm hopeful for the people for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that extends to the city because I think the people are the city and not necessarily the few people that might be governing what is happening in the said city or state. But
It's
that's
gonna
neither
be
here
like-
nor there at the moment.
It's gonna be like that Marvel. You just gotta have a bleep year, and then we just get over, and then we just we'll rebuild.
We're just going to snap and we're going to blip back in 5 years and everything will
Marvel.
infrastructurally be a little bit worse, but hopefully we'll be a little bit better.
We'll rebuild.
Let us
We'll
pray.
rebuild.
We will rebuild.
We won't rebuild. We'll build better.
Ooh,
Yes.
Replace with
I like
systems that
that.
work
That's
for
it.
people and not against.
that's
Yes.
also a shirt, Patrick. Build better. I
We
like
got a lot of
that.
shirts coming out of this episode.
I know.
Excuse me. Okay, so one of the things I want to touch on in terms of Indianapolis specifically and the work that you do is like a lot of your community building is creating access to resources. So I'm interested in what is a strength of our small business or entrepreneurial like support system here in Indianapolis.
Oh goodness, I mean, you have the SBA where they have a lot of free classes and resources. There's just so many organizations like CCC that are available for you with free access. So it's the SBA, it's NABO, it's Indie Chamber, the Black Chamber, even Exchange. Like there's so many free events where you can get connected and tap in that I think Indy is doing so well.
I would lift up and Boss, used to be Boss Babe Network. I will do Black in HR. I will talk about Leadership Indianapolis. There are so many organizations that you can literally lift your brand and network with here in the city. Indie Hub, okay.
Yeah.
Maven Space.
Maven Space. How do we not do Maven?
I mean,
Maven Space, the City Moms, like we are so interconnected in the work that we do. Indie Maven, even though they're synonymous, but they're two separate entities. Creating space that for women, for small business entrepreneurs. I'll even call out Bankable and Pitch Feast. And
I mean, we can name drop all day.
We can name drop all day.
There's so many resources.
Yeah. And of course, Create, Connect, Collab.
100%. I appreciate you saying naming all of them because I think something that we've talked about a bit is on the show over the last year or so has been the visibility of some of these resources. And like, the first time I heard about some of them, I'm like, I didn't even know that any of this was available. I'm like, I need to tap into that. And you just all listed off a bunch that I don't think that I had heard of. So this brings me to the inverse of that question is what do y'all think is a big weakness or maybe failing of our entrepreneurial support system right now that we could be focused on improving or could replace with something better?
I'm making a face. Like, do I want to say this? Don't zoom in on that one. I hate to say it, Lateva. Oh, God. Collaboration, honestly.
Interesting.
I don't think for me, I don't see enough collaboration from the more prestigious organizations tapping down to those who may not always be in your circle. I want to see the new people come out and speak. I want to see those emerging leaders come out and speak. I want to see the hidden gems and hidden heroes of indie being held up high.
Yeah.
You know, because I know for Lateva and I, we are struggling and knocking on doors every day just to get seen, to show our work of what we're doing in this community. And so that's what I want to see.
Girl, can we drop the mic? They probably cost a lot, so I won't hit them. Okay.
He shook his
I got a little side eye in the back, y'all. Okay, we're not gonna drop the mic. I would say, this is such a great question, Patrick.
Thank you.
The weakness is, I would say, trusting yourself enough to just do the shit. Can I cuss here? Is this okay? Like, do the shit.
Okay.
Like, people are gonna tell you no. People are not gonna, like, Create Connect Collab was born in 2020, lifted in 2017, but born to the public in 2020. Literally, she just said, fought like tooth and nail for funding, for space, for speaking in front of people, for creating a mastermind online. Like, there are so many conversations that we are not in, and I don't even want to make this about us, but there are so many conversations that community people are not in.
For sure.
So creating accessibility points, even if it's not like the platform, creating an accessibility point to that platform is what is needed, right? Like, why is Patrick not, creating conversations on the circle when WNBA is coming? Like, how are we having that conversation?
Sure.
Right? And you might be. But I'm just saying, like, these are the type
Patrick's
of spaces that
I don't know if you are.
Patrick is
I'm
in
not
the
there
streets.
yet, I don't think. We'll see.
But just lifting, right. We'll see. Let's make that happen. But it's like Patrick's doing the work, you're doing the research. Why is Patrick not here, right?
Sure.
And there's an accessibility point that's like, okay, this is just the one simple connection that Patrick needed to be national, global. Sure. Yes, so accessibility would be the weakness for me.
I think that they go hand in hand, accessibility and collaboration, because like you said, there are people in positions of privilege and power and who have access to resource who simply could just start to do that.
Yeah.
Like you said at the beginning, like just to do the shit. They could just be like, okay, let's see what happens. Because at the end of the day, it's probably not going to hurt their pocket, but it might really help or launch someone into a stratosphere that they did not have access to. And that's what the spirit of collaboration is to lift each other up. And then we all get a lot higher.
Yes.
And then we like to talk about the economy a lot right now. Like, I think our economy does a lot better when we're all making it work instead of just a couple people.
Yes, everyone can profit together.
100%. Is there a specific aspect of the concept of community that you try to tap into as you do this work? When you get to Thursday, you're like, I'm doing CCC stuff. It's CCC day. What am I tapping into? What part of community am I tapping into to do this work today?
I mean, our members, they pour into us. Sometimes I'll go on our mastermind and I'm like, that is what I needed. And I mean, I know Lateva, we always want them to leave with something that's going to help them in their business grow, or something that's with their mindset, or something that they can do to move the needle even further. But I feel like on those calls, I'm like, wow, Lateva, you could have a bad day. You hop on that mastermind, honey, you are having a good day.
Yeah.
Love it.
For community, for me, and waking up on Thursdays, it's the work that I get to do. It's not like, oh my God, I gotta go to work. I gotta get all this stuff together. It's the work that I get. Like, I'm excited about that day.
Yeah.
I know that it's planned. I know that there's 100 things.
Sure.
At 50-11. Okay, things in the day. But I get to be in this space with a community of women that are literally change makers. Like, even if they hadn't decided that they are a change maker, I get to say, hey, I see you. I know the work that you're doing. You are a change maker. You are going to get revenue from the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So the community is really built on support. Our favorite question is every time we're on a panel is, how can I support you?
Oh, yeah.
It's the one that we end on in our masterminds as well. So we're not leaving with just like, oh, here are all my problems.
Yeah.
You're leaving with support. It's a community of support.
And I think it's also important to like show up as you are.
Sure.
Like, we've had members who've came on because they're breastfeeding, because you're at this stage in your life, or your 2-year-old is throwing something on the wall because you're at that stage.
Right.
And so it's like, or you had a bad day.
Yeah.
And like, we've had people cry. We've had people, we've celebrated our members. It's just a joy. Like Lateva says, like, we get to wake up and do this, and it's an honor.
I love it. I feel like I resonated with it so deeply because I feel like when I walk out of here after doing an interview, it does feel like, man, I'm like lifted up a lot in a way that I could be having a bad day before and it's not a bad day anymore. And I'm leaving here with that as well.
Okay, so I hear a CCC men.
Maybe.
I know, right?
Actually, okay, that's for an off-air conversation.
Oh, you had something offline? Okay.
So we've talked about community so much, and you just talked about how it's the people that pour into you, which I think is a perfect segue. We have a recurring segment on the show called Give Them Their Flowers, sponsored by Frida's Flowers, Madeline McKinnon. Shout out to Madeline.
Come on, flowers.
Where we asked our guests to shout out or give their flowers to whoever they think deserves it at the moment. So, Starla, Lateva, who do you think, or who do you want to give their flowers to today?
Okay, first, Freedom's flowers. I've seen them. They're gorgeous. I haven't received one, so if anyone wants to send them, thank you.
Come on, flowers.
But I want to give flowers to, of course, my husband, Reggie Mathis. I love you. He's always holding me down. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that man. Our amazing children, Cardell and Kayan, my father and my grandfather, like, just giving them their flowers. And my mother, I got to shout the family.
Come on, mama.
But just overall, the community. I think every person... I'm not self-made. I think every person who has liked a post, shared a post, whatever, has helped me. So thank you.
Love it.
Yeah.
All the way down to just the person that saw your stuff or shared it. Like, I love that.
I love that. Patrick, I'll give you your flowers first.
Thank you.
For creating space like this and even having us on. I'm grateful for that. I will also give flowers to my man of 23 years, my man, Curtis, and our 6 daughters. If I named them all, we'll be here for a while, so I won't do that. I will also give flowers to our Create, Connect, Collab community, our community ambassadors, our directors, our board. Literally every decision we make is supported by women, made by women, pushed by women, launched by women. Okay?
That sounds like a shirt.
That does sound like a shirt.
Listen, okay? Like, literally people are emailing us. That's our ecosystem. So I want to give every one of those companies a flower. I will give flowers to Star. Yes. And I will give flowers to my very best friend in the whole wide world who holds me mentally down. Okay, if you ain't got one, get you one. Maria, and I will give a flower to myself. Okay, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for showing up, for doing the things, because it's really difficult. Okay, I just told y'all about my ghetto morning with my 4-year-old who bossed me around. But having 6 daughters, a husband, 2 companies, a life that be lifing.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to give myself a little flower of grace.
Absolutely. I'm here for that. You're the first person that's ever given themselves a little flower, and I think it's absolutely worth it. Every single person should. Because I think y'all doing stuff that deserves to be recognized, and you deserve to recognize it in yourself.
Yeah.
I don't give myself flowers very often, but I love that you just did it. So I'm like, I'm going to try to internalize that and start to do that for myself. Thank you for that. Shout out to Madeline. Shout out to Frida's Flowers, Indy for all of your floral needs. Reggie, sounds like you need to maybe get on the website, send some flowers.
Frida's.
As we get close to wrapping up, I just got a couple more questions. I just want to say first, thank you so much for coming through and sharing so much. Excited to have people tap into this conversation and see not only what you're doing, but pick up on all of the gems that you've dropped. And then hopefully not trademark all the sayings that you've
I know. I'm got card lawyer ASAP.
I wanted to ask, you just talked about, we talked about the morning that you had with your kids. I was talking about, I was tired with my kid. As a new parent, I've again, trying to figure out what's the balance? How do you prioritize? What makes sense? I was just wondering if you could share how y'all maintain the energy and the joy that you bring each time that I've run into y'all. The way that you just navigate the world as parents, and you have multiple kids. We want to have multiple kids. I'm like, no, we got one. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
You need to.
But my wife was an only child, so she wants to have at least 2 kids.
Yeah.
But how do you just maintain it all and navigate
maintain it all?
So I'm asking for myself.
I know.
So I can figure it out.
I'll hop in. Is that okay? I'm gonna hop in. God is literally the center of everything for me.
Yeah.
I know that I was created to be a bridge builder. Some people just know what they were created for. I'm one of them people. I know I was created to build bridges for other people and to connect them to the other side or even connect them in the middle. Lots of prayer, lots of understanding, lots of tearful conversations is how we get to show up. People don't even know, sometimes before we're even hosting something, we're crying in the back. Or we just had a conversation this morning and it's okay, let's shift this energy, sis. Yeah. Look at me. And then we're saying a little prayer for me and then it's go time, right? Because we got to give the people what they need. In terms of balancing my family life, I have to shout out my daughters. Okay, I have 3 older daughters, Janai, Michaela, Ari, and then I have 3 younger daughters, Gabby, Anna, and Serena. I'm do I know them? No, I know them all. But without my husband and our oldest daughters, I wouldn't be able to move and shake like I do.
For sure.
So they are literally the backbone to my balance. And then putting it all down. And walking it all the way. I didn't used to do that. She literally pushes me to be shut it down and don't text me about nothing else, Lateva. I'm but I have this idea. Let me leave you a voice note.
It was crazy, Patrick.
She opens it, but doesn't listen and then doesn't keep it.
It'd be midnight. It'd be ping, ping, ping. I'm turning my notifications off. I'm having a download. It's an experience. So now weekends, I can't. And I won't.
That's your time.
That's my time with my family. I get to, yesterday, I just put my cell phone away. I did not look all of the things. I can't even look at that phone because something's going to happen. It's going to pull up. It is such a balancing act to be able to be in the world and then go home and shut it all down and connect with your family. Yeah. So sometimes it's unbalanced, but it is what it is when you're an entrepreneur.
I think I'm a very type A person. So, Patrick, just advice for you as you're navigating this.
Thank you.
When it comes to raising a child in a home, there's lots of things that has to happen, right? And this is something that I did with my husband. You write it all down. Who's doing what? Who's owning what? It's not always perfect, right? You might you know what? You do that better. Be flexible. My husband holds us down so much. I don't remember the last time I cooked. Because my husband has been cooking. My children are very independent. So they are just it. I love them to death. And I think it's important to be present. So that's when you say, we're happy, we're joyful. I have to shut it off. And I'm here now. I'm focusing on this. What am I doing in this moment? Because we'll be thinking about everything else. No overthinking. We don't have time for that. and we talk about our sparkle state.
Come on, Sparkle.
So this is something that a member of ours, well, no, not a member, she was a speaker, DJ Henry, Blue House Productions. I hope I got that right. But she talked about being your sparkle state. So that music, whatever you have to do to being your best self, putting on what you feel great in, right? So you might always see me with a skirt on because I feel good. I need ventilation. So
It is wild. It's wild.
I mean, like, I get hot, so I need ventilation. That's what I meant.
I mean, I get it. I run hot too, so I get it.
I run hot, you know, so I need
These pants
ventilation.
are not ventilated. I can tell you that much right now.
I need ventilation.
Mike needs some ventilation.
Be in your sparkle state.
Period.
That was wild.
love it.
I didn't know I was
That
going to
was
make you
wild.
crack up like
No,
that.
that was great.
so
I'm
funny.
here for that.
Yeah, I moonlight as a comedian
I also want
sometimes.
to lean in for Patrick.
Yeah.
Lean into your marriage. Even after you have a baby, okay? And tell your wife too.
Yeah.
Husbands are important. Your spouse is important. Your wife is important. It was very difficult, especially when you have a young one. And if you're going to have another one,
Yeah.
it's easy to lose it between the two of you.
100%.
And I'll be like, all right, now me and my husband be like, FTK, we'll see y'all later.
Yeah, she's really good at that. I'm like, we just started doing ABC dates. So, like, you plan a day, I plan a date. Because I'm like, hold on, I'm planning a little bit more than you. So, this is my fun way in doing
I like that.
Yeah.
Plan
Because
dates.
I feel like that's one of the things I've been trying to figure out right now. I feel like she's been planning a lot more than me, and I need to step into that and help out.
Because she
there,
you got time to plan a podcast, you got time to plan a date.
I think that might be the literal conversation. That
Okay.
Don't let her see this episode.
I literally just scheduled an episode when our son has a doctor's appointment. So
Oh, man.
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing really
Yeah.
good right now. I think I appreciate that advice from both of you and the Sparkle State. Definitely going to try and lean into that. I think that I've never thought about what it would mean to balance life in this way. And I think what we see on social media, and again, I started off this question by saying the times I've ran into you is like the jovial, like everything that you bring all the time to CCC, I think, is what we see on the outside, but like what we don't see behind is all of the 10,000 hours I've went into, the heartbreak, the hardship, the things that have not went well. Yeah, the struggle. And so I appreciate you, again, tapping into the vulnerability and sharing that.
Yeah.
2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let y'all get out of here.
Okay.
You talked about you have an event coming up.
Emerging Women in Business.
Emerging Women in Business.
It's
Yes.
a 2-day event. So this is our 3rd year doing this.
Okay.
It's March 7th. You want me to get the whole thing out?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's March 7th. It's our networking mixer. It will be at Cholita's. It is free, so sign up. It's important.
You have to register.
You have to register. Thank you. And then March 8th will be at Maven Space, and it's in partnership with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Chi Chi Omega Chapter, and sponsored by Emerging Pearls Foundation in Martindale Brightwood. So I want to make sure I give them their credit due.
Come on, flowers.
Yes.
Love it.
And during that Business Summit Day, we have master classes. We're going to have masterminds. We'll have a panel. There'll be food. It's just a whole experience.
Come on, experience.
Here for it. Unstoppable later in the year. What else do you have coming up that you want to let the people know about?
Unstoppable's November 2nd.
First.
My bad. See? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I just be like, I know Unstoppable's happening.
It's like, it's November something.
It's November. It was November
In
2nd
November.
last year.
I know, but
Okay.
I double-checked this time.
And what else do we have? We just partnered again with Indie Hub. So we'll be creating more conversations this year that are for the community, by the community. We're going to have a community mastermind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
So
I'm here for something like
you're
that.
here for community. You have to come to the community
I
mastermind.
have to come to that
Yes,
for sure.
please
Yeah.
come.
Yeah,
right.
please come.
I will.
We're going to be creating conversations around different sections of the city and thinking through how we can better be in community with each other. Of course, Black Girl Magic is in
It's
June,
Juneteenth.
on Juneteenth. So we have sprinkles of a bunch of different events, and I'm sure more will pop up.
I love it.
I hope not. I'm trying to have my boundaries straight.
I'm here for that too.
Yeah.
We're going to link to all of that in the show notes so everybody can get that there.
Okay.
But last but not least, you talked about it before. You asked this question at the end of every one of your sessions. We asked the exact same question at the end of every episode. Yes. So as we get ready to close, first, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for coming on here and giving us your time and your vulnerability for both of you. It really means a lot to me. As we leave here, how do we best follow you? How do we best support you? How do we find you? How do we do all the things
Yes.
going on from here?
Okay. You want me to go first or you?
Go ahead. Sis.
Okay, so you can follow me everywhere. Starla K Mathis. That's K-A-Y Mathis. Also Mathis Media, and we have a photography studio, Mathis Media Studio. The best way you can support me is if you know someone who is, or a company, obviously, or a nonprofit. We are looking for more clients to add to our portfolio for media and for marketing needs.
Supporting me or following me, you can follow me at Lateva Woolfork on all of the platforms. Supporting me right now looks like following Create Connect Collab. Telling a woman in business who is in ideation stage or who is thinking about all the things that she wants to do that she feels like she cannot accomplish, and referring her to our space, and lifting it up. Like literally, if you're in a room and you're like, hey, I know about this thing called Create Connect Lab, that's the support I need today.
Love it. And so obviously people can find y'all or Create Connect Lab through y'all's stuff.
Yes.
But I know that they have their own things.
We do.
Yes, they do.
Create Connect Collab has its own space. You can follow us there at Create Connect Collab.
Yep.
Boom. Get it in the show notes. You can connect all the ways down there. Lateva, Starla, thank you so much. I say it a lot at the end of the episodes, but it's always a privilege and again, joy, honor for me to sit down and for people to just share. And storytelling. So thank you for sharing everything that you have, and it means a lot.
Ditto.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
You can tell us how we can support you.
Yes. Right.
That's not what this show is for.
But-
you came on the show. That's supporting me.
Okay.
And you told me about the community mastermind.
Share with a friend.
Yeah. We'll talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But again, thank you for everybody else. New episodes of the show every Tuesday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. ConversationPeacePod.com for the open door, for the archives, for merch. We have some really cool conversations coming up this month in March. So make sure that you're tapping in to the show at Conversation Peace Pod on all the social media platforms. And yeah, that's about it for the show. I've been Patrick Armstrong, John Overton of Popular Rapture on the mics, Mike Lee and Mike Lee Production on the cameras. This building is the Stutz Building on Capitol. Shout out to Pattern for partnering with us to use this space. Shout out to Madeline McKinnon and Frida's Flowers.
Yes.
Shout out to Starla K. Mathis, Lateva Woolfolk, Create Connect Collab. Again, I am Patrick Armstrong, the host of the show, and this has been Conversation Piece. See y'all soon.
Period.